Hey everybody, Kim here with another edition of Tiny Garage. But today we're not in the garage. Today we're in the tiny carport. As you can tell, I live in a mobile home, so I don't have the luxury of garages. That's why I've got the tiny garage and I've got the carport. So it allows me to do a lot of work that I normally wouldn't be able to if I just had an open driveway like most people. So today's episode, we're going to discuss my vintage BMW, my what we call affectionately called an airhead. In this case, it's also known as a BMW R80/7. It's the 1978 model. I bought it about 4 years ago, and I have been slowly putting money into this thing like it was a boat. I have more money in this than I will ever get out of it. But that wasn't the reason I bought it. It's affection for me. It brings back memories of when I was stationed in Germany in 1987. First time I was ever, or 78 rather. First time I was ever overseas. I was like 22 or 23, and I saw a BMW motorcycle for the first time. The Politz, I rode them, and I've always been fascinated with them. I own two, as you know if you watch my other videos. I have my K1600, which is the big touring bike, but I also wanted something just for playing around in the afternoons and during the day, and that's why I got this bike. Two reasons. Number one, because I remember them from when I was in Germany, and I was at this one came up and it was available on Craigslist. And I also wanted a BMW that I could ride during the day and not be a big tour bike or a big heavy hitter like that K1600 is. So with that being said, I should give you a quick overview of the bike itself. It's an 800cc bike. It can ride 2-up. It does have bags. I don't have them on right now. I have, other than painting the bike, when I bought the bike it was painted from the previous owner who bought it from a guy who was sitting in a garage for like 15-20 years. I've replaced almost all the major mechanical components except for the motor. It only had 8,000 miles on it when I bought it. Surprisingly enough, those were actual miles on the clock, and you could tell because if it was 108,000 miles, it would have been in much tireder shape than what it was when I got it from the guy. So he painted it and put the seat on it, and that was about it. The handlebars were wrong for the bike, the mirrors were wrong for the bike, the exhaust was starting to get rusted out. It was also wrong for the bike, so it had been replaced at some point by the previous owner, or the original owner actually. It needed brakes, it needed shocks. I put the light package on the front of it. I put the bars on the front of it. I changed out the handlebars. Recently, if you watch one of my other Tiny Garage videos, I redid all the braking on it. The front brakes were for shit. They were 40 years old and didn't even work. The brake cable was so frozen you couldn't even squeeze the brake handle. So I did all that over the winter. But now, yesterday I ran into a problem where I was riding it and it just started running terribly. I mean, running like shit would be saying it was running better than than what it was running. It was popping and crackling and backfiring, and I couldn't get it over like 1,300, 1,400 RPM. I had no idea what was wrong with it. And I've never done any real mechanical work on the bike, internally engine-wise. I've replaced the coils. I replaced the spark plugs. I replaced the spark plug wires. I had the carbs rebuilt by a local BMW mechanic. I had him do the forks as well on the front. I didn't do those, which I'm probably going to do them again this fall because I think they're a little too springy. I'd like them to be a little stiffer for the way I ride. I've replaced the tires and polished everything. It's won a couple of second and third place trophies at some local vintage bike shows. But other than that, I've never mechanically had to deal with anything like I just got done doing. So I'm going to go ahead and point the camera at the bike and just tell you about what it is I've been doing all afternoon. And then I'll start the bike up and let you hear it run. All right, so what I did was I took the valve covers off. And I went ahead and lashed the valve, which I'd never done before. I also adjusted the free end play in the rocker arms. Again, something I'd never done before, but there was a real good explanation online, not a video, but just a guy showing picture by picture how he did it. And so I went ahead and did that as well. I've got all the tools for all this. I've just never been mechanically inclined to work on anything. I mean, new cars and my new bike, and a lot of this stuff you just don't do anymore. So this is kind of old school stuff from like the 70s and 80s, obviously. And then I adjusted my my carbs. I got everything tweaked up, but it was still running really, really bad. And so it was either going to be a fuel problem. I checked. I took the tops of the bowls off the top caps off the carbs and checked to make sure the diaphragm wasn't ripped or torn. Because I saw someone else mention that could be a problem and cause it to run poorly like that. But they were fine. Again, they were just rebuilt a few years ago, so I expected them to be fine. So I went ahead and decided it was probably the points. So I took the front cover off and looked at how to set the timing. And I don't have a timing light, so there is an option in the climber's manual to do a what's called a static timer, where you use a toner and you turn the flywheel to the specific point that it tells you to do it, and then you listen for a tone. And if you don't get a tone, that means your points aren't set properly or your timing is off. Oh, I found out my points, for whatever reason, my points, and I had done this a few months back. I had replaced the points in it, and it had ran fine. Not as good as it's running right now, though, so I'm sure I screwed something up. But it was running fine, so I never gave it a second thought. But my points weren't set up at all correctly, and the timing was off. So like I said, since I didn't have a timing light, I went ahead and did a static time on it. But it seems to have done the job, because it runs and starts real well. So that's kind of what I did. I spent my afternoon doing that today. I was going to sync and balance my carbs, but I wasn't able to undo the vacuum. There's a vacuum port on the bottom of the carbs that has a screw in it. I couldn't get the screw out. I didn't want to strip the screw head trying to get it out, so I'll work on that at a different date. But I did adjust the throttle linkage cables so that they pull the same, and I did adjust the idle mixture of each carb so that so it would run at a specific idle speed. So I'm thinking that that's good, because it sure sounds like it's running well. So anyway, so there you go. There's the front brake. I just did all that over the winter. You can see that's all brand new, ready to go there. Works well. I'm going to go ahead and fire it up and let you guys see what I'm talking about. Let you hear the end result. Make sure it's in neutral. It is. Okay. Now I do need to probably get the starter rebuilt on this, because occasionally when I hit the starter it freewheels a little bit. So if that happens, don't worry about it. That's a known issue. I'll be working on that next. But you can see that's the OEM style mirrors, OEM style touring bars. I put all of that on the bike. It didn't come with any of that. So here we go. Let me start it. There you go. See, it started right up. Back for 42 years later. Doesn't use any oil, doesn't leak any oil, doesn't smoke. So everything you see on here, it looks new, is new. I'm real proud of this bike. Like I said, it's become a kind of a money pit per se, but it does run good. I took it to the Dragon last year and rode it there last time in Tennessee with it. It was so much fun. It makes you work, you know. You got to shift, brake, upshift, downshift. It's not like this bike. I mean, this bike right here, I can put it in fourth gear and I can go 30 miles an hour or 100 miles an hour, and and it handles like it's on rails. You know, but that's the kind of bike it is, right? This bike right here, I mean, this is like the granddad of the road bike. This is where it all started. So I'm going to see how well it runs through the RPMs here. There you go. Thanks for watching. And again, thanks for watching my different videos that I put up. I really don't know why you guys do it. I don't get any money to do this. I'm always using music, so they don't. I can't ever monetize it. But I just do it because I enjoy doing it, and I hope you guys enjoy watching it as well. So if you have any questions or comments, if you like the video, select like, and don't subscribe to my channel.